My name is Kelly Odor and I am the Marketing Director at Bookster. So Bookster is a property management software company based in sunny Scotland today. And today's webinar is especially for short-let managers or owners who are really looking to grow their businesses, whether that's looking at targeted clients, new clients, or whether you're looking at acquisition or you're looking to maybe make improvements to your property so that you can get different types of clients. This is for you. Okay, and we have two objectives for today. Firstly, we want to help you understand how the connection with Vrbo and Bookster can really help you attract a certain type of guest, and we'll go into that. And to give you some really amazing insights from Vrbo about what guests are currently doing on the Vrbo website that should be able to help you make plans for your business. Okay, so firstly, I'd like to introduce you to my special guest today, Henrike Herr, who's up at the top there. We've got Marco Puccioni, and we do have Sinead, but I just need to get her connected, so just give me a moment for that. Henrike, could you start us off? Could you introduce yourself to those who don't know you already?
Absolutely. Sure. Thank you, Kelly. So good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining. And I hope we have lots of really great, useful information for you today. My name is Henrike. Like Kelly said, I have been working for what used to be HomeAway, is now Vrbo and belongs to Expedia Group for the last 5 years or so, a little bit longer actually by now. And I look after everything connectivity globally as well. So I manage a lot of software partners, just such as Bookster, all over the world. And we're trying to get the best supply for Vrbo and making sure that the connections between those software partners and Vrbo are always up to date, and we have great partnerships so that you can perform as a property manager. And then I'll hand over to Marco.
Hello everyone, as mentioned before, my name is Marco and I work as MDM in the partner success team here at Vrbo, so I'll probably be your first point of contact if you decide to work with us or just to explore about Vrbo and if you want to have more info about how we do business. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. Okay, I think the best thing to do is to jump over to you, Henrike. I'm just going to get your slides up and we'll go from there. If you just give me one moment.
Wonderful. Thank you, Kelly. Okay, so Lovely. This is really just the title slide. So we all know what we're here for. We want to set you up for success on Vrbo with the help of the Bookster software. So what we'll cover today is I want to talk just briefly about the Expedia family of brands and a little bit of history on how the naming's changed, the branding's changed from HomeAway to Vrbo. And then we will tell you a little bit more about why you should sign up with Vrbo. Kelly will just briefly talk about the connection between Bookster and Vrbo. And then I have some insights for you on who the Vrbo traveler is and what these guests, potential guests for you, are looking for in a vacation rental, so you can use those insights to attract as many of those Vrbo guests as possible. And then I'll be handing over to Marco to wrap up. And he will tell you a little bit more about what our account managers do once you have signed up with Vrbo and all the benefits you can get through those, and then also how to connect, of course. And if you do have any questions, pop them in the chat. Like Kelly said, we can have this a bit more as a conversation, really. I don't like holding monologues. And Sinead is also one of our team members here. She's on the line. She can also answer a lot of questions. She's very knowledgeable. And so don't hold back, okay? And so I think we can jump to the next slide, Kelly. Perfect. So yeah, I thought as an intro, I'll just say a few words about the Expedia Group in general and how we got to be Vrbo. So in the Expedia Group, as you can see on the left here, incorporates lots of brands, and that's really to unlock the best possibility for each individual traveler and each type of trip. So Vrbo is one of the brands that's specifically targeted to vacation rental, as you probably know by now. Expedia purchased what was back then HomeAway in 2015. So the brand has changed into Vrbo. And so if we take a closer look at the Vrbo family of brands on the right-hand side, what's really important for you. We grew through acquisition of regional brands such as Abridel, Vrbo Direct that you can see there. But that worked out to be a pretty good deal as well, with a really good global presence. But we decided that it would be much easier and cheaper to operate, and it would also be less confusing for our customers if we rebranded to just one global brand rather than having lots and lots of different ones. And that brand turned out to be Vrbo, since that had the best marketing performance and it was the easiest to build on. So you should be well aware of that by now. We do lots of marketing also in the UK. And what we still have going as different brands is Abritel in France, Vrbo Direct in Germany. We have Stays in Australia and Booker Batch in New Zealand. And all the rest is now been accumulated to Vrbo. So don't worry. Once you sign up with Vrbo or any of these brands on the right, then your listings will be distributed to all of those brands. You don't really need to do anything. And if you're eligible and hit certain criteria, it's a little bit too much detail for now, but just high level, you will also be able to be distributed onto the Expedia brands on the left. So that's not for everyone, but you can reach that. And that's obviously a huge benefit because you're reaching such a huge global audience and maybe travelers that would normally go for hotels and would have never thought about vacation rentals before, but you can reach them through those brands. Okay, thanks, Kelly. So this slide just shows you our mission statement. And I just wanted to emphasize, although HomeAway is now Vrbo, we may have changed the name and the logo a little bit, but we're really maintaining our ethos. And that's to help families everywhere to find the perfect holiday home to reconnect with each other. And the Vrbo Global Network is already helping millions of families around the world to do that by providing a unique selection of 2+ million holiday homes around the world. Next slide, please. Okay, so before I go into any more detail about the platform and about our guests and travelers, let's get a little introduction about the software integration and its benefits and the great work that Kelly and her team have done to integrate.
Lovely. Let me just move the slide over. So that's us. One moment. There we go. So this connection was live, I think it was in January this year. And for those of you who are familiar with two-way direct API connections, the details of it are going to be familiar. However, for those of you who don't know how these connections work, I'll give you a very high-level overview. So with the connection that we now have with Vrbo, we will share with the Vrbo team your property listings information, your bookings details, your cancellation rules and so on, your photos, your descriptions, and that information gets shared up to Vrbo along with your availability. And then when somebody, a guest, a family, makes that booking on Vrbo, their information is then passed back to Bookster, and you can view it all within within the Bookster platform. The basic idea is that it smooths out that transition process and just makes it a lot easier for you to work with Vrbo and to be able to take those bookings and manage those bookings within Bookster. So it's just making it a very smooth process. Now, I know that at the moment, our technical team and our onboarding team are very busy trying to get our existing clients connected together in the onboarding process, which Marco can talk about a little bit later on. And, we're seeing the bookings coming in, very happy. So that's probably as much detail as I think is good to go through for today. I'll pass back to you, Henrike.
Thanks, Kelly. Great. Okay, so now let's have a look at who the Vrbo traveler actually is and how they can benefit you as a property manager. So as many of you probably have heard from us before, or perhaps you have seen some of our marketing, our primary customer is families, and families also love us. And so we keep going in this snowball effect. Importantly, families love you, your properties. And so that's what we want to build on particularly. So 85%, a bit of a stat here, 85% of Vrbo bookers travel in families or groups. So that's not just one family particularly together. It could also be multiple families.
Could I ask a question about that?
Yeah, sure.
So when you're thinking about families and groups there, so what type of dynamics are we talking about here from a kind of a family group or just a group perspective?
I don't know if we have Sinead on the line yet, because she would be the amazing to answer this. But if she isn't, then I can answer that.
She's there, but I can't make her a presenter.
No problem. I'll take this. So it's different types of families, right? And of course, when we do all of these, when we bring out these statistics, they are often global or European wide. So I just wanted to remind everyone that this can vary in regionally as well, and we have lots of information out there on specific regions that we can pass on to everyone. But generally speaking, the family segment is quite, it can be a little larger. It's not that we want to say the average is just 2 adults and 2 kids. We generally say that Vrbo travelers look for 2+ bedroom properties. So what the Vrbo traveler is like, or the families are like, they're not the type of guests that just come for the weekend and they're looking for a place to sleep while they go out and do other things and cram everybody into a really small space. No, they want to come and enjoy the vacation rental home. They want to spend time there. They want to connect. They want to talk. They want to engage. So that's what they need this wonderful space for. So it's not like they want to share a really tight space. They want to have a nice larger property and really enjoy themselves. So the number of people, I think, really depends on the individual size. So it depends on the region a little bit, and what also, of course, what inventory is available. So I want to kind of stay away from averaging too much, but I hope I could give you a bit better insight of who they are.
Yep, that's really useful. Thank you.
Okay, so we can move to the next slide. Okay, so I have a lot of stats here and I apologize, I'm going to read them out to you, but the main points here are on the slide. So the Vrbo traveler basically stays longer and spends more, and you have a little bit more insights there. But basically, as I said before, with more than 200 booking sites in 70 countries, our partners that list with us, they can reach an enormous number of global travelers. So that's really good. The Vrbo traveler generally is more affluent and family oriented. And I'm going to read those statistics out to you now. So sorry, it's a lot of numbers. 71% are 35+ years old. 50% have a household income of over 100K. 64% are parents. 42% have children in the household. And 36% have 2+ kids. So all of this kind of points towards what I said earlier in the last slide. They are really family oriented, maybe even have the grandparents with them, maybe a couple of families together, and they're basically fairly affluent. So they like to spend. They spend on average, so they stay on average 3 times longer than other travelers, and we have compared that to some other data that we have, mainly hotel sites, and some of this is competitive insights too. And then they also spend 5 times more than other travelers on average. So this is really, really good news for anyone wanting to list on Vrbo.
I'm just replying back to Milena there. She was wondering if it was the wrong slide. Oh, there we go. That's fine. Sinead's on it. Okay, let me move to the next slide.
Thank you very much. So now I think we should take a look at how you as a property manager can attract all of those types of travelers. So luckily, Expedia Group and Vrbo, we do a lot of market research, at least a few studies per year, and we publish those as well. So they will be available for all of you. And I think Kelly and I will put a little package together with links and as a follow-up email, so you can read up on all of those. So unsurprisingly, COVID has had some effects on travel and vacation rental. And some of these trends that we're talking about are here to stay, specifically flexibility. So flexibility really matters to our travelers, and they really emphasize still to have the ability to get a refund in case their plans change. So, we've probably experienced that before, all of us. We're planning a trip and then lockdown comes or some sort of restrictions pop up, and then we can't do that anymore. So it's really important to be flexible with in regards to cancellation policies and refunds as well. So next slide, please, Kelly. Cool. You might have heard of this concept called Flexcation. So we call, this is a word, I don't know if we made it up or if it's a common thing, but basically what it means is that travelers stay away for quite a while, or at least longer than a traditional holiday period, and they work and maybe even take their kids and school from home office, basically. So these are still a thing even this year, and however, we have already seen shorter and more frequent trips coming back. And this year, I just heard this morning actually from a meeting that people are very, very keen to go back and on longer trips because they feel like they've been pent up for way too long. So again, this is very much related to flexibility. So even though we want everyone to be prepared for those flexcations, it's not the only trip on people's minds. So you also need to be a little bit flexible around shorter stays and basically trying to provide to what the traveler wants. So again, flexibility. So the next slide, please, Kelly, unless anyone has any questions.
We have had a couple of questions in there. Is it worth just having a quick check of those first?
Yeah, sure. Let me just have a look.
So we've had a question from Milena there about being on Google Maps. Will using Vrbo mean our prices and availability become available on Google Maps?
No, that actually is a Google integration. So we will have your coordinates, your property's location in the Vrbo, on the Vrbo platform. So that's a requirement that you have to put in. So before booking, I think the traveler will not see exactly where the property is, but they can see like a circle on a map. So that's what we need the location data for, but they will not become available on Google. That's through a Google integration.
Great. And we've had a question from Sammy, who's not using Bookster, but if you did, you would have that integration. So Sammy is using Tokit. Do you now have an integration with them, or is it still manual, I presume, using iCal? Do you know off the top of your head?
I don't know, actually. We have a huge amount of software companies, and we try to be very agnostic, I would have to look in our database how far this integration is. So I think, Kelly, you're keeping track of these questions, and then I can reach out to her afterwards.
Yes, that's absolutely fine. And Sammy, if they don't have a direct connection and you'd like to use Bookster, feel free to get in touch. Okay, let's have a look. Rachel Summers, please can you confirm if connecting to Vrbo we can uplift charges?
I'm not sure if
their charges. Is that the Vrbo charges, I presume? And what are their charges? Do you have details of your charges?
I think you mean the commission structure?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I would like to leave that to the partner success team. Or Marco, do you know? Can you answer this?
Of course, the commission is a flat 15% commission on the host side. We decided to simplify it, so we don't have using a channel manager. We don't have a commission on the traveler side. So it was more simpler. It was more. Partners didn't like to see a commission on top of the price. So now we have this 15% commission on the partner on the property manager side.
Excellent. Thank you. And Rachel, I'll get back to you directly regarding your other question there. Okay, shall we move on to the next slide, and then I'll keep track of the rest of the questions?
No problem. Yeah. This slide here is related to the cancellation policies that we've just noticed, that we just mentioned. I just wanted to demonstrate how that actually looks on our site. So the travelers are able to filter by cancellation policy. So that's why we keep going on about the flexibility in the cancellation policies, because we know that our travelers have quite specific needs, and then they filter very specifically for that. So if you don't set those things up correctly, you will be missing out on those page views. So that's the main point of the slide.
Okay, and I think that answers Louise's question there. So she was asking about the cancellation policy. So that looks like that answers that. Louise, if that doesn't answer it, please let me know. Okay, so let me move on to the next slide for you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and still remnants from COVID. I can't believe that we're still talking about this, but we do. Travelers still prioritize cleaning practices. So it is important that you mention this, and Vrbo has all of the amenities and tick boxes for those that you can set in the system. So that's it's provided for.
Okay, I have a quick question about the showing them point of that. So when you're showing them, I presume that is through the photographs, is it? Or is that a different way?
No, it's through, there is actually a section, I believe, and maybe Sinead can confirm this, but there is a section that really demonstrates that in writing. So there's not pictures or anything, but if you have, hand sanitizer and the type of cleaning that you do, that will be listed in the description.
Right. Okay. So do you recommend that people use their photographs to demonstrate their cleaning procedures, or would you not recommend that anymore?
Personally, I think the photos are so valuable, they could be used for other things. If you do that, I think it should be definitely in the order of the photos with the cleaning procedures should be maybe a little bit further towards the end. So, I would not make that your profile picture at all. Too much valuable space wasted there for showcasing the amenities that people really, really want. And we get to that slide in a second.
Okay, lovely. Thank you. I'll move on to the next slide.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now let's talk about those amenities that I've just mentioned. So 70% of travelers surveyed are willing to pay more for properties with their favorite amenities. So I've just mentioned that earlier. Our travelers know what they want, and then they search for it. So this is why we have all those filters available. And what's also really worth noting is that they want to pay for it. So if they really, really want that hot tub, then they will search for one until they find it and they pay for it, unless there is nothing available, of course. So really important that you go through all of the setup and make sure that you set the right things up that your property showcases and that sets the property apart. So if we go to the next slides, there is a few more details on that. So first of all, this is what it looks like on the app on the left-hand side. And then on the right-hand side, this is how the guest can filter on our site for those amenities.
Okay.
And this slide now is the top 7 amenities that our guests look for. Just a really small warning that this might actually be a little bit different regionally. So generally they are the same, but what is number 1 here might be number 2, depending on the region. But generally these are the most important ones. And obviously we're big on summer holidays, so everyone wants a pool. And in colder regions or slightly colder regions, maybe a hot tub is the way to go. Number 3. Yeah.
No, I'm just thinking if somebody is looking to acquire new properties or they're looking to make upgrades to their properties, then actually this information is really useful. So I was thinking in particular, the barbecue one, number 7, certainly from the UK, that's a big thing, obviously. And yet I don't see it come up a lot in the listings. Even the places that have gardens or they have patio areas don't necessarily note that they have a barbecue area. So it could be that if that is a possibility for your holiday rental, that's something to really consider. Hot tubs, I know, are a thing. They come premium properties. Now you will pay so much more money if you want a property with a hot tub. And so, if you can upgrade your property to have a hot tub, a good hot tub, then that's really going to go in your favor. Absolutely. Interesting, though, that you have Wi-Fi there. Why is Wi-Fi coming up?
Well, anyone who has teenage kids probably knows. No, but in general, I mean, it's important for the Flexcation. Actually, I'll move to the next slide because we have a lot more information on this. generally technology is really, really important for travelers in general, not just for people working from home, but now it's also to stay connected in general. You know, everyone needs to share their holiday memories immediately. And it's also for entertainment, you know, your streaming services and all of that, for having that relaxed night in, you know, and after you've had that barbecue. Really, it is what people want and what they're very, very specific about too.
Okay, yeah, it's interesting actually. I've recently tried to book a property and at the last minute realized it didn't have Wi-Fi, and I was flabbergasted that this would be the case. And it was right next to a conference center because I was going to a conference, and I thought, no, you're missing a trick there. I ended up choosing somewhere else.
Yeah, I wouldn't even call it an amenity. I would call it a necessity. It's really a must-have.
Exactly, yeah. Unless it's, you know, unless you've got that type of property where it's all about switching off completely, you know, no TV, no internet, no Wi-Fi. That is one type of property. But basically, if you have anything else, then you need to have that Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll move on.
Okay, and this is probably my last slide in terms of what travelers want and what you should be providing. But I wanted to spend just a little bit of time on reviews. So we all know that we hardly go even to a restaurant when we haven't read the reviews, right? So it's the same for Vrbo. And I just wanted to demonstrate that with a couple of statistics here. For example, a listing with 1 review is already 13 times more likely to gain a booking. So it's very important that you manage those reviews, that you ask for reviews, you receive the reviews, you respond to reviews, and basically nurture that and manage that. So it's not something that you can just disregard, and it will bring you up into a better search position as well. So yeah, just 2 more stats here on the slide. You can read them. 92% of travelers want to see reviews before the booking, and the properties with more than 20 reviews generate 69% of revenue on Vrbo. So really, it's again that snowball effect. Now, the more you have, the better you will perform.
Yeah, I would kind of add to that it's not just about getting the reviews and going out and, you know, trying to encourage guests to leave you reviews, but taking that time to respond to reviews. You know, if you, no matter what, you should be having that conversation. If somebody wasn't happy, well, how could you resolve that? How could you make that better? Because it's not just that conversation with your past guests that you're having, it's your conversation with every other potential guest out there who's going to be reading how you respond to people who say great things, but also maybe don't say great things. You know, if you're missing a cutlery set, or, you know, you need to be able to respond to that professionally as well. So that, I think it's so valid, so valid.
Okay, and I think the next slide is Marco's, so I'm going to keep quiet for a moment and let Marco explain all the great things that they can do.
Thank you. So again, as mentioned, I work as MDM and as market development manager in the partner success team here at Vrbo. So I work specifically with our property manager partners and cannot stress enough how important you are to our business. You will provide great experiences for travelers and make it easy for them to book and find a great property. So we want to make things easy for you. As an MDM, my main job is to onboard new accounts. Of course, we also have account managers who are in charge of switching already active accounts from one software to another, in this case, Bookster, or helping active accounts that were not using a software and decide to do so following the transition, the migration process. But in this slide, I want to underline also that in any case, our job here at Vrbo does not end after we onboard you, of course. A week or so after you get onboarded, we usually organize what we call a strong start call. The strong start call is a business review with you, with partners, when part of your portfolio is already live. Basically, we pick a random listing and analyze it, going through the advertisement step by step. And this is really helpful because it lets us show you all the main strategies to improve the listing and be visible on the top results when searched by travelers. So we are talking about simple but crucial tips, a flexible cancellation policy, as mentioned before in the chat, clear and high quality pictures, they are really important, distant booking, again, distinctive headlines, and top searched amenities in your markets. So you also get access to a ton of data. We can review your specific market trends and data with you to uncover opportunities for you to cover higher, get more bookings and make more money. Also, when you partner with us, with Vrbo, you get access to our dedicated integrated property manager support team. And it's really important because they work only with property managers using software. So they are super knowledgeable and have the ability to troubleshoot issues with you and work closely with the Bookster teams to get issues resolved. I'm thinking about sync issues that can sometime occur. And next slide, please, Kelly. So as you can see here, you have my email. So if you are new to Vrbo and would like to list with us, or if you simply want to explore more about who we are, please reach out using the link that you see on the slide. You are more than welcome to take a screenshot, and I'll be delighted to help you. We can set up a Zoom call, a phone call, whatever you prefer. Thank you so much.
Excellent. And I think there is our final slide. So just a quick question there. If for our anybody who's attended today, if they want to get hold of you, Marco, the best way is through your email. Is that right?
Yeah. Then, as I was mentioned, I work with a new account. Sorry, with new accounts. So if there is someone that already has an account, or they want to switch from a software to another, or they want to just use the Bookster, then we will manage internally, and maybe I won't be the person managing the request, but there is our IPM support team or our account managers, and they will manage the request.
Fantastic. Lovely. So I will put your email address in the notes that I send out after this as well, so people can contact you directly there. Henrike, what's the best way for people to speak with you?
Sure. So I just wanted to mention I'm probably not the best one to answer very intricate account questions, but I would forward it if you can't get hold of anyone else. So you can contact me on LinkedIn. Kelly I'm happy for you to provide my email address as well. That's no problem at all. And I just wanted to emphasize at Vrbo, we are happy to speak to people. So we will not leave you with a robot. To the right person, that I promise.
Lovely. Okay. Now I know Sinead has been doing a sterling job answering all the questions as we've been going along. So I'm just wondering if we have any questions that she's not answered, or if anybody has anything they would like to add. Do you know, I actually think we've done this within the half an hour, which was our plan. I think that's amazing. Chris has got one final question there. Thanks, but having built up an excellent. Oh, Sinead's on it. Sinead, you're amazing. Okay, well, in that case, then I think I'm going to call it a wrap. Marco and Henrike and Sinead, first of all, thank you, and apologies for the kind of technical problems at the beginning, but we will make sure that everybody who registered for this event will get the replay. We'll send out the notes and the contact details. If you would like to talk about Bookster, you are more than welcome to do that. See, we have our direct connection with Vrbo, and we offer a lot of other services for property managers as well. We have 3 pillars that we really focus hard on: supporting property managers to attract guests, helping them manage guests, and then manage the kind of technical side of all those bookings. I would say, though, if there is one thing that I would like you to remember about Bookster, if you have not come across us before, it's the fact that we are so deeply passionate about this industry and love the people who we work with and who are in it. So if you would like to get in touch, if you'd like a coffee or a bit of a chat, then feel free to get in touch. I'd be delighted. And my details, you can find me on social media or just send an email to Bookster. Now, the goals for today were to understand a bit more about how Vrbo and the Bookster Direct connection can help you attract very targeted guests, and as it is, family groups, and to give you insights from Vrbo about guest behavior that's going to help you make plans for your business. And technical problems aside, I hope we've achieved this. Our next session is actually going to be with Stripe Climate, and that is booked for the 12th of May. So got 6 weeks, got Easter holidays in between, so we know everybody's going to be busy with those, but I'll be sending out some details about that soon. So thank you. Team Vrbo, is there anything you would like to add before we end today?
Well, just from my side, on behalf of the other guys too, just a massive thank you for turning up, for investing your time, and I hope it was useful. And if you do come up with any questions, please do reach out. We want to help as much as we can. And I'm looking forward to seeing all of you maybe in person at some stage.
That's the dream at the moment, isn't it? Okay, Marco, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, basically the same. And as Shinad is typing on the chat, if you have any queries, any doubts, anything that you want me to clarify, reach out my email, and we will set up a Zoom call. And as I mentioned, it's my job, so I'm more than happy to help you and to clarify everything. And we discuss a lot. We cover a lot of topics today, but of course there are specific things that we can go through together.
Excellent. Okay, well, thank you so much to both of you, and thank you to everybody who's come along today, and those of you who are going to watch this on the replay. I really appreciate your time, and I hope you found it useful. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.